Hello everyone, thank you for coming up today. My old subscribers, thank you. And to those that are viewing for the first time or that have not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. And to my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please do not forget to hit on the like button. This is another shocking incident that just happened in Delta State, Nigeria. The lead pastor and founder of Grace Hill Christian Ministries, Warri, Delta State, Nigeria, that's the person of Prophet Evidence Chikasin, has reportedly divorced his first wife, who is the mother of his 3 children, and the name of his first wife was Praise Chikasin. Right now, this prophet, who recently got married to a former choir mistress in his own church, and her name is Helen. He has even ordained her as a resident pastor of the Ugeli branch of the church. See the extent at which this pastor has gone now. He divorced his wife all for him to go and marry his choir mistress in the church, in that same church where he's actually the lead pastor. And according to the Warri Akporo special, this Chikasin, that's the pastor, and the lady Helen, that's his choir mistress, had secret love affair for a long time, and the wife was said to have initially dismissed it when she heard about it, probably because of the trust she had for her husband. Even inside the church, all of these things are happening. You see how some women can be. They will trust a man to the point that even when you tell them that this is what your husband is doing, they would not even want to accept it. And they will debunk it immediately and tell you no, they know their husband. Unknown to them that some of these men are very trickish. They will so hide neatly and cheat on you neatly without you even sensing anything. Some men are so good at cheating that you will see them, you think they are the best husbands in the whole world because of the way they would disguise and come to their wives and treat their wives like without them they can't live. And unknown to these women that this same husband is out there having fun with another woman, and you are at home sitting down and waiting for him to come back home to you. This is so painful, and it's coming from a pastor. So all this while he's been in the church, the choir mistress is there directing, and he is there looking at her. They're giving themselves signals in the church, unknown to his poor wife, who is just sitting down there in the congregation thinking that her husband is focused on what he's meant to preach. Meanwhile, him and the choir mistress has been having their secret love affair for a very long time. Guys, how would you describe this kind of a thing? Or what would you say about this particular pastor guy? See how some of these men can be very misleading. Right now, what will he stand to say as a pastor, as a man of God? And aside from that, what would he stand to say as a father and as a husband? You are in church there having an affair which is even against what you are preaching. That is committing adultery because you're married. You are having an affair with another lady inside the church. Not even the fact that it's inside the church, but for the fact that it's another woman different from his own wife. He's obviously preaching one thing and doing the other. I did like some men feel they are justified to cheat. You ask some people, they will tell you that he's the man, he's the head of the house, he has the right to do whatever he wants to do. But are they forgetting that these women too have feelings? These women too are human beings. Go and see now, some men that are cheating, let their wives try it for one day. Some men will kill her instantly. Some men will pack her things and throw it out of the house and tell her to leave his house. When a woman tries it for once, it's like heaven would let loose from that man. But once it's the man that is actually cheating, to them he is justified in the sense that he's the head of the house and he decides what he wants to do. But I think that should not be the case. In as much as the woman is faithful to the husband should also be faithful to the wife. It has to go both ways. What example is he now preaching or teaching the congregation? What legacy is he leaving for his kids? Alright, look, some men don't even think he has 3 kids already with his first wife. And now he didn't even bother about them. He has now pushed everybody aside and now gone to meet his mistress, whom he feels that is the best person for him to live with or to spend the rest of his life with. Then where is the vow that you take for better, for worse? Why are you divorcing this woman? Now, for no matter what the reason this man would give, so long as they are still both alive and still together, and he didn't catch her in any act of adultery, why is he divorcing her? You know, some men, when they're already tired of their wives, they would look for all kinds of excuses so as to justify their actions to sending her away from the home or to divorce her. That's how some men are. They will now be the ones to stir up problems in the family, so that problems will start coming up, and then they would now use whatever the woman is saying against her, and then now act like, yes, she is the cause of the problem, or because she did this, so I am divorcing her. You as a pastor, why should you be very quick to separate from your wife? If not that this man has his heart fixed on another woman even while he was still with his own wife. It's such a pity that the wife has to be treated this way. Imagine the shame it will bring on her in the congregation. Everybody usually know her as the pastor's wife and as the other second pastor in command when the husband is not around. And now for her to come in the midst of that same church, the choir mistress there has taken over her position and she is being thrown away. Why is it that some men will just embarrass their wives without even thinking and placing her emotions into consideration? This kind of a thing can put someone to a sick bed because you'll be so devastated. Imagine the lady in the church whom you were the one telling her what to do and all of that has now taken over your husband and taken over the house. Then she and the kids have been sent away. I don't know whether sometimes some men feel that they have the right to treat women the way they feel they can or the way they feel they should treat her. These women are humans too. They deserve to be treated nice. They deserve to be loved. Why throw her away with the kids and then you now bring in the other woman into the house? And it was also gathered that they were so close and always traveled together, which made people not to suspect them earlier. They traveled together recently and they were involved in a serious accident on their way back from the trip. And the Toyota Prado, that's the SUV used, was damaged beyond repairs. Also, the suspicion of their secret affair grew after the accident because when they were always moving together, people felt it was pastor and choir mistress activities of the church where she may have to be taken to another congregation for her to lead there or competition and all of that. So it seemed like it was a church activity that was going on between the pastor and the choir mistress. And not until they had that accident recently, and after the accident, they realized that the man was getting himself so close to the woman, he would want to ensure that she's okay, and he was showing more care and love for her than even other members of the choir. And that was where people started suspecting what is really happening. Is it just a mere accident that has caused this man to be close to this woman, or is something going on that they didn't know? That was where people started raising eyebrow and they started looking closely and they wanted to follow up and be sure that they are not just speculating or it's not just mere rumor. And problems started when the prophet's first wife, that's Praise Chikasin, gave birth to their third child, as he was expecting a male child, and this led to trouble and frustration in their home. The prophet then took a step further to pay the bride price of his suspected lover, who was the choir mistress. He also established a branch of the church in Ughelli. Are you seeing what this man has gone to the extent to do? You as a pastor, as a man of God, it's not God who gives children. God is the one that gives children. And irrespective of the sex of the child, they are very important, whether it's a male or a female. But these days, you find out that some people are still stuck to, if it's not a male child, then that wife shouldn't deserve to be in the home. Is it the woman that makes the babies? When the X and Y chromosomes meet, that's when you have your sex of the child. When Y and Y meet, what do you expect? So some of these men tend to forget that this is all about who God has blessed you with. And even some science research have explained these things to some men that have refused to listen, to some men that have beaten their wives, thrown her away from the house, all because she gave them female kids. It's not up to the woman to determine the sex of a child. These men tend to forget that these things happen naturally. You as a man of God should even know better. I don't know, sometimes some of these men that actually stand up to hold on to God, they hold on to God, but they deny the power in that same God they are talking about. When you've been blessed with a child, are you not supposed to thank God? There are some people out there don't even have one for years, counting down, no child. And then you that even have 3, you have the third one. You are now upset that your wife didn't give birth to a male child. And that was what now prompted him to quickly go and pay bride price. You see how he's being trickish. He will now hold it on to the fact that his wife has now given birth to a female child. So he's upset with his wife and let him go and get married to another woman who will give him a male child. Meanwhile, he's been having an affair with her a long time ago. He's been looking for an opportunity. And that is why I mentioned something earlier. Some men will deliberately stir up problems so as to look for an excuse to leave the house or to bring in their mistress that they have been dating for a very long time. And that was what this man did. He used the opportunity that as soon as his wife gave birth and realized that it was a female child that she gave birth to, he quickly went to go and pay bride price for the other lady, making it look like this his wife is not ready to give him a male child, so let him go and get it elsewhere. And that wasn't all. He even now established a new branch in Ughelli for this new mistress of his. Why are some men so mean? He's now doing it to the point that this woman, his first wife, would be so heartbroken and devastated. A woman who just gave birth, are you not supposed to be with her to assist her in taking care of the newborn and taking care of the other kids? Instead, this man thought that the best thing for him to do was to go and get married to his lover, to his mistress. This is so painful. Seeing the woman in this condition and you left her to go and get married to another woman. What would this congregation do? How will they look at this pastor? Would they keep going to the same church? Because what example is this man portraying? I think he's portraying an example of treat women the way you want to treat them, irrespective of how they will feel. That is the example of the life he is actually portraying out there to people. Which means women should not be regarded, the feelings of a woman should not be put into consideration before you take drastic decisions and actions. Also, the wife that his wife prays, whom he actually threw away from the house, has decided that she will now start off her own church, as she's been seen now that she prophesies, because that is one of the gifts she actually has. So for her not to just sit back and allow the pain of what her husband has caused her to put her down, she has told herself that she is standing up. Right now, what she is doing is she now sells anointing oil and is now owning her own branch. She didn't want what her husband is doing to pull her down, I think she now wants to tell him that with or without you, I will still stand and do what God has called her to do, or whatever she feels that is what she wants to do right now is for her to start off her own branch. So now you see that the church sometimes results into acts of competition. You can see, out of pain and unhappiness, the wife has now decided that she is not just going to fold her arms and sit back and watch. Instead, let her continue what she was doing in her husband's church and have her own branch. Come to think of it, and I'm sure if some members would decide they would move away from the husband's church and then go and meet her, because of the way the whole thing happened, it's so devastating. It's really painful that the woman was treated that way. And imagine the congregation in the church. How will they look at her? Well, some people who really understand and who see things critically, or who is not judgmental and trying to criticize, would understand that what this pastor has done right now was just an act of adultery, because he was having a secret affair with this particular choir mistress for a very long time, unknown to his wife. And then he looked for an opportunity, decided to throw his wife and his 3 kids away, and decided to marry her. So right now they're heading the church. She has her own church, her branch in Ughelli in Delta State, and he has his own branch. That's the bigger church there. Well, sometimes when you see some of these pastors or men of God act like this, you'll be wondering, what are they preaching? What legacy are they trying to leave behind? What are you trying to tell people? How should other people treat their wives at home? That is a question that will come into play right now. Because you'll be wondering, when you see an act like this, you treat your wife in this manner, a woman who has gotten children for you. You didn't even think of the kids, at least for the sake of the kids, for you guys to mend whatever you think is the problem. But to him here, he didn't mention anything other than the wife is giving him another female child when he wanted a male child. Okay, I think people will now see and ask now, let them see if this new mistress of his he just got married to would eventually give him the male child that he's looking for. Well, it's so sad that this pastor decided that this is the way he would handle his family issues. God has a way of handling things, and he has a way of putting things in order. I pray for God's intervention, especially upon his first wife, Praise Chikasin, and the kids, that God should protect them and help them through it all. It's not easy for a single mother with 3 kids all to herself, knowing that her husband is somewhere else with another woman. Friends, what do you all think about this? This pastor having a secret affair with his own choir mistress for a very long time, and has now used an opportunity of his wife not giving birth to a male child to send her away from the house with his 3 kids and then marry his choir mistress, even building her own branch in Ughelli in Delta State. Please, is this the right approach to an issue like this? And also, the man cheating on his wife, is he justified because he's a pastor or because he's a man? Please, whatever you think about this, you could put that down at the comment section. Friends, don't forget to hit on the like button. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. Thank you. God bless you all.